The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with barely contained laughter as Admiral Zixtar gestured toward the human standing awkwardly near the maintenance bay entrance. Adnan wiped his grease-stained hands on his coveralls, completely oblivious to the cosmic joke he'd become. This primitive creature, Zixtar announced to the assembled alien dignitaries, his crystalline voice dripping with condescension, claims he can pilot our most advanced warship better than our finest graduates from the Imperial Flight Academy. The claim wasn't entirely accurate. Adnan had simply mentioned, while replacing a faulty hyperdrive coupling, that the ship's control interface looked similar to the old cargo haulers he'd flown back on Earth before his daughter Nahal was born. That offhand comment had somehow reached the ears of the Council, who saw an opportunity for entertainment at humanity's expense. "Go ahead, human," Zixtar continued, his mandibles clicking in amusement. "Show us your legendary piloting skills." Adnan looked back toward the maintenance crew quarters where his 10-year-old daughter Nahal was completing her homework on her tablet. She'd been living aboard the station with him for 3 months now, ever since he'd taken this job to pay for her medical treatments back home. The exotic alien diseases required expensive Earth-imported medications, and mechanic work paid better in space than it ever had planetside. "I don't want any trouble," Adnan said quietly, his Pakistani accent coloring his galactic standard. "I just fix ships." "I didn't mean to." "Scared," interrupted Commander Velnari, a reptilian saurian whose scales shimmered with mirth. "Perhaps humans aren't as brave as your propaganda suggests." That stung. Adnan had spent 6 years in the Pakistani Air Force before Nahal's mother died, and he'd left military service to raise his daughter alone. He'd flown relief missions into war zones, navigated sandstorms that would ground most pilots, and once landed a damaged transport with a full passenger manifest during a complete instrument failure. "Dad," Nahal's voice came from behind him. She'd approached quietly, as she always did when she sensed he was upset. Her large brown eyes took in the assembled aliens, all watching expectantly. "What's happening?" "Nothing, Beta," he said softly, using the Urdu endearment. "Just some people who think they know what I can't do." Nahal studied the aliens for a moment, then looked up at her father with absolute trust. "So show them what you can do." Admiral Zixtar's laugh was like breaking glass. "How touching." "Very well, human. Your spawn has sealed your humiliation. Step forward." The ship in question was a Hegemony-class destroyer, the pride of the Galactic Navy. Its controls were laid out in a complex web of holographic interfaces, biometric scanners, and neural link ports that required years of training to master. Most species needed cybernetic implants just to process the information flow. Adnan approached the pilot's seat, ignoring the snickering from the observation deck. He'd learned long ago that the best response to mockery was competence. As a single father working multiple jobs to support his daughter, he'd faced plenty of people who assumed he couldn't handle the responsibility. The moment his hands touched the controls, something clicked. The layout was different from anything he'd flown, but the principles remained the same. Thrust, navigation, power distribution, these were universal concepts regardless of the technology implementing them. Initiating startup sequence, Sun announced the ship's AI in melodious tones. "Wait," Zixtar called out, suddenly less amused. "We haven't authorized," but Adnan was already moving. His fingers danced across controls he'd never seen before, muscle memory and intuition guiding him through the pre-flight checklist. Years of maintaining these systems had given him an intimate understanding of their function, even if he'd never operated them. The destroyer hummed to life with unprecedented smoothness. Every system came online in perfect sequence, power flowing through the ship like blood through healthy veins. Even the most experienced pilots took 15 minutes to achieve full operational status. Adnan had done it in 3. "Impossible," whispered Commander Velnari. But Adnan wasn't finished. Without warning, he engaged the engines and lifted the massive warship from its docking cradle with a delicacy that shouldn't have been possible. The destroyer moved through the station's traffic patterns like a dancer, threading between cargo haulers and patrol craft with millimeters to spare. The observation deck fell silent as Adnan demonstrated maneuvers that pushed the ship beyond its recommended performance parameters. He flew it like an extension of his own body, anticipating the vessel's responses and compensating for minute variations in the artificial gravity field that most pilots never even noticed. "He's not using the neural interface," someone whispered. "He's flying manually. How is he processing that much data?" Adnan brought the ship around in a perfect spiral that would have challenged an experienced squadron, then settled it back into its dock with the gentleness of a mother laying down her sleeping child. The entire display had lasted less than 10 minutes, but it had shattered every assumption the Council held about human limitations. In the sudden quiet, Nehal's proud voice carried clearly, "My dad can fix anything. He always has." Admiral Zixtar approached the pilot station where Adnan was shutting down systems with the same methodical precision he brought to every task. "How?" the Admiral asked simply. Adnan looked up, meeting the alien's compound eyes steadily. "I'm a father, sir. When your child needs something, you learn to make the impossible work, every single time." He stood, straightening his coveralls, and walked back to his daughter. As they headed toward their quarters, the entire council chamber remained silent, finally understanding that humanity's greatest strength had never been technology or warfare. It was the quiet determination of people who simply refused to let down those they loved. The next day, Admiral Zixtar personally delivered Adnan's new commission as senior flight instructor, along with a medical scholarship for Nehal. Some jokes, it turned out, had a way of becoming legends.